Hey guys, we are back and we're ready to finish some more of our Bible lesson. So we're on this page, 119, the page we left last time. And what we're going to do today is we're going to fill in these next sections and see what is happening with these Israelites. Now, we stopped on verse 8 last time. Actually, you know what? I didn't even read that verse. I remember stopping at verse 3, and now that I'm looking back at it thinking, I didn't even read verse 8. But that's okay. We got the answer, but we're going to go back and look at these verses. So we stopped at verse 3. So I'm just going to give you kind of the gist of what's happening, just a quick story. So Moses goes up to the mountain. And God says, listen, I protected you, I gave you food, and you saw what I did. You saw how I protected you. Now, if you will obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all the nations in the world, you are going to be my treasured possession. Okay? So God is saying, listen, Moses, you better go down there and tell these Israelites, they saw me. They know I can take care of them. They know I'm in control. All they have to do is trust me. Okay? Kind of the same thing he tells us today. We still haven't learned. So Moses goes back down the mountain. And today we need to read 11 and 12 to see what's happening. 11. Let me go up to 10 because this is kind of not the beginning of a sentence, okay? Because it's a lowercase letter. So, and the Lord said to Moses, go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow. Have them wash their clothes and be ready by the third day, because on that day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. Now, that word consecrate, where did it go? Right here. That just means that you give with your whole heart. You devote yourself to someone or something, okay? So let's go to our page. In blank days, the people were to be ready to hear God speak to them. How many days did God give them? You remember? Third. So 3 days. In 3 days, the people were to be ready to hear God speak to them. Now, verse 12, we're looking for this word. Blank had to be set up so the people and animals would not touch the mountain. This is interesting. Let's see what verse 12 says. Put limits for the people around the mountain and tell them, be careful that you do not approach the mountain or touch the foot of it. Whoever touches the mountain is to be put to death. Okay. This was because God was there. God was holy. And what can God not be around? Sin. Okay. The Israelites are sinful. Was Moses sinful? Yes, Moses was sinful, but he was kind of God's servant. He was set apart to be God's servant and deliverer of this message. So Moses kind of had an exception, okay? So blank had to be set up so the people and the animals would not touch the mountain. It said limits. It may be like a boundary, maybe a fence or a gate. So we're going to write the word limits. A boundary. Limits had to be set up so the people and the animals would not touch the mountain, and they had to blank their clothes. Let's see what they had to do. After Moses had gone down the mountain to the people, he consecrated them and they washed their clothes. Okay. They washed their clothes. So their clothes they also had to wash their clothes. Okay? All right. So that one was, 3, limits, and wash. All right. Let's look at the next section. We're going to go into verse 16 and all the way to 19. Okay? So let me just go ahead and read those verses, 16 through 19. We're going to be right here. On the morning of the third day, there was thunder and lightning and a thick cloud over the mountain, and a very loud trumpet blast. Everyone in the camp trembled. Then Moses led the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was covered with smoke, because the Lord had descended on it in fire, and the smoke billowed up from it like smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain trembled violently. As the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and the voice of God answered him. Okay, so that sounds kind of scary, doesn't it? Do you think maybe the Israelites were a little scared? They may have been. So on the morning of the third day, there was blank and lightning. What was there? Thunder and lightning. Okay. Thunder and lightning over the mountain. The people, what happened to the people? What did the people do? Let's look back in verse 16. Whoops, sorry. I have this little thing that my camera's on, but it's kind of wiggly, so you have to let it stop wiggling. On the morning of the third day, there was thunder and lightning and a thick cloud over the mountain, a very loud trumpet blast, and everyone in the camp trembled. Okay, so the people trembled. Okay, the people stood around the mountain. Mount Sinai quaked, and there was blank all around the mountain because the Lord came on it with fire. What comes with fire? Smoke. So there was smoke all around the mountain. And when a blank sounded, Moses spoke and God answered him. What was that musical instrument that sounded? It was a trumpet. When the trumpet sounded, Moses spoke and God answered him. And then God gave Moses the 10 commandments to give to the people of Israel. And do we go by the 10 commandments? Yes. So this is why Mount Sinai was pretty important, because this is where Moses got the 10 commandments. Okay? So we have the word thunder, trembled, smoke, and trumpet for this section. All right. Now, the people were not allowed to see God while he was on the mountain. All the people saw was smoke, and they were not allowed to touch the mountain. God was showing the people that he is powerful, he is holy, and they were not allowed to see him because they had sinned. But God is perfect and holy. I want you to think about how the people must have felt when they were at the mountain. How would you have felt if you were standing at the base of the mountain and everything starts shaking and quaking and there's smoke and there's fire and there's thunder and lightning and your leader, Moses, is not there? How would you have felt? I want you to put a complete sentence on this line to tell me how you would have felt, okay? And then take a picture and send it to me. Now, next time we come back together, we'll do this very bottom part, okay? And that'll be the end of our lesson. All right, I'll see you soon.